Let me conclude with this hadith. Listen to this hadith. A prophecy of the Prophet ﷺ. Even though some spoke about the narration, the chain of authenticity of this hadith, it's authentic. It's authenticated by many, and among them is Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal, and Ibn al-Qayyim mentioned this hadith in Miftah Dar al-Sa'ada. You'll find good talk on the chain of authenticity in its narration in Takhrij Hadith Mishkat al-Masabih. It's on the authority of Usama bin Zayd and Abu Huraira and Ibn Mas'ud and Ali and Ibn Umar and Mu'adh and other Sahaba. A prophecy and an honor for a category of people of knowledge. A category of people of knowledge. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allow us to be amongst them. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, يحمل هذا العلم من كل خلف عدولة. There will be just, credible descendants who carry this knowledge from their forefathers. A praise from the Prophet for the few, the righteous, that carry on this deen as pure as it was when it was first revealed to the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. What's their main duties? What's their characteristics? In this hadith, the Prophet ﷺ mentions three characteristics, three qualities of these people that he praised and glorified. They're worthy of praise and glory because of three characteristics. Number one, ينفون عنه تحريف الغالين. The first characteristic has ghal in it. The ghal is one who exceeds his limits. Here, of course, it means one who exceeds his limits in matters pertaining to religion, meaning those who go extreme. They are, for example, like the Khawarij, who went to an extreme. And they took text intended to be geared, for example, to the kuffar and put it on the sinners of the Muslim ummah. They went to an extreme. The Prophet ﷺ warned about ghulu, which is the word for similar to extreme, in ibadah as well. When he said, why do certain people do this and this and that, in the famous hadith. You see that in takfir. You see that in wala and bara. You see those who do a domino effect on takfir among Muslim inhabitants of an entire nation. And I wouldn't believe it if I didn't hear it myself. An entire nation, they consider them kuffar. A domino effect. There is this ghulu in this topic, in wala and bara. Some went to an extreme. Especially lately, when the Ulamaa no longer began to teach this topic, and then the West put a ban on it, thinking they're smart. In the East, they didn't let them teach it in the East. So many young brothers went out on their own reading the text, or second-hand text of Ibn Taymiyyah and Muhammad ibn Abdul Wahhab, and some, few, may have went to ghulu in it. Many who have never touched Ibn Taymiyyah's original works, firsthand, use snippets of his work to declare Muslims kuffar in totality. Like I said, I wouldn't believe if I didn't hear myself, one person who declared the entire nation kuffar. I read the works of Ibn Taymiyyah several times, from the first to the last. Every time you read it, it's mind-boggling. You need giants to break it down for you. You need to be careful and have thorough knowledge of his style, as well as comprehensive reading of his entire work, or at least comprehensive reading of his entire work on the area you're trying to talk about, especially with Ibn Taymiyyah. To understand his fatwa on crucial matters, you need to gather the shattered fatwa throughout his majmu'ah, and you have to take them collectively to understand, and then go and understand who he was talking about in each fatwa, to understand the circumstances behind the fatwa if you want to adopt it, if you want to go by it. Today you see those who, some, not many, alhamdulillah, who take from second-hand booklets, translated languages, and then want to declare entire nation kuffar. You can take statements out of context from the Imams of Najd and nearly declare everyone who's living in the West today a kafir. Ma'adallah, that they say that, or that we say that, or that anyone would say that. But I'm just saying, you can take certain statements out of context. That's why it's essential to study these books with the ulama. So the first characteristics of the people that the hadith mentions is ينفون عنه تحريف الغالين. They protect and guard this religion from the distortion of taking matters to an extreme. The second characteristics, وانتحال المبطلين. Wallah al-Azim, it says if the Prophet ﷺ is sitting amongst you here today talking to you, telling you this hadith. Prophecy of the Prophet ﷺ. And it's true today. Intihal al-Mubtilin are those who take the text out of context, take text out of its context and bend and twist its meaning to suit their desires. They crop the proof out like you crop a photo in a Photoshop program. Like, woe to those who pray, and put a period there. Wailul lil musallin, and stop. A more practical example is wala and bara, for example. Those who take one category of wala and bara, crop it from the other categories and make it as if it's the only branch of wala and bara that there is. And we'll talk about it inshallah next halaqah. Part of wala and bara, as many ulama mentioned, and you can read it in Al-Qarrafi, who mentioned it in his book Al-Furuq. Part of it is to be peaceful, kind to non-warrior, non-Muslims, Ahl al-Dhimma. That's part of wala and bara. In fact, at time, Muslims are responsible before Allah to defend the non-Muslims. They got to put their life at stake for that. Al-Qarrafi mentioned this in wala and bara when he speaks about this matter. Now, you got the modernists who take that category, crop it out from the rest of wala and bara in teaching, and make it seem like it's all of wala and bara. It's as if the Prophet ﷺ is here teaching you. The third characteristics of the people the Prophet ﷺ praised of with knowledge are those who protect knowledge from ta'wil al-jahilin. First one was those who protect the teaching from ghulu, from extreme. The second one was who protect it from the likes of the modernists, who crop and bend and twist the proofs to suit their desires and their masters at times. The third category is about those who are ignorant. There's some who are ignorant, who speak in ignorance. Ta'wil al-jahilin. These are those who are ignorant. They misrepresent text. They interpret it wrong. Some of them, all of them have no knowledge because they're ignorant. They have no knowledge and they have no foresight. They hit you with verse after verse and hadith after hadith, not even knowing what the ulama said about them, or not even knowing if they're abrogated or not. Those are the ignorant people. Some may not mean to be evil, but their actions speak for themselves. And some are in really, really evil, ignorant people. They have in common, both of them, the ignorant and the evil and non-evil, they have in common that they speak without knowledge. And they are the likes of those who I mentioned a brief talk about when I said who's not a sheikh today. If you look at, for example, eating swine, drinking alcohol, you will see there's exceptions where one can eat and drink that if there's a necessity, if there's a darura. But speaking about Allah without knowledge, there's no exception to it. وَأَن تَقُولُوا عَلَى اللَّهِ مَا لَا تَعْلَمُونَ. Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal commenting on this hadith, he said, Alhamdulillah, in every era, Allah has those few who call people to the correct guidance and deter people from evil. How many killed by Iblis did they bring back to life? How many slaughtered by the shaitan did they bring back to life? How many astray and misguided did they bring back to the right path? How beautiful is their effect on people? They are the honorable guardians of the deen of Allah. And then he mentions the statements